Hey guys, you're watching Just Hoop Talk podcast on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and to our podcast on all streaming platforms. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Just Hoop Talk. You're with Justin Henry, Will Thompson, and today we have a very, very special guest, Gabe Vincent, Miami Heat guard. Gabe, what's going on with you, man?
How we doing, guys? We good?
Hey, doing well, man. How you living out there, man? How's Miami treating you?
Miami's a blessing, man. I love it here. I've been able to see the city on a bike, moving around the streets, trying to get my cardio in. But it's been lovely. It's a beautiful city. I just wish, I could experience it more firsthand without everything going on. But
right, that's facts, dude. That's facts, man. Well, I mean, I know right now it's a different time, but I want to talk a little bit about like your journey because it's really intriguing to me, and I think for our viewers, it'll be kind of cool to hear some of the insight as to like a player who went through that G League path in order to make the league. But first, maybe just give like a quick breakdown of who you are and really just about you in general.
Okay. Well, I'm Gabe Vincent. I was born and raised in Modesto, California. I went to high school at St. Mary's in Stockton. Which is a community that's very near and dear to my heart. Went to UC Santa Barbara, played 4 years there. Had my first year at a Exhibit 10 contract with Sacramento. Ended up playing with their G League team the last 2 years in Stockton, fortunately enough, which was a cool experience for me. Really one of a kind to be able to play for a professional team in an area you're really familiar with, playing high school in. So that was awesome. And then halfway through the year, in January of this year, of my second year professionally, I got a call up to Miami, and that's been amazing ever since. Man, I got my first NBA bucket, got my first NBA minutes.
Yeah.
So I was really enjoying this year and this season. It's been a great year for me overall. Even this summer, qualifying for the Olympics with Nigeria, so that was a cool experience too. And, it's been a whirlwind of fun this last year, basketball-wise, career-wise for me. And, unfortunately with Corona, everything's come to a halt. But we're eager to get things going over here.
Yeah, man. No, definitely. I love hearing that, man. And it sounds like you kind of have like that, you start off with Exhibit 10 with the Kings and you've kind of gone to the G League, taking different routes. And you mentioned in Stockton, you were a prospect. How, talk a little bit about that, because from what I've read, you weren't necessarily like the highest prospect to come out the area, and you still made it happen going to UC Santa Barbara.
Right. I mean, in our area, it was, I was definitely one of the better players in our area. But for me, my collegiate looks mostly came when I was playing AAU. And I ended up playing with Oakland Soldiers my sophomore year. I was on their 16s team. And at the end of the year, I ended up getting called up to their EYBL 17s team after they had just won Peach. I met them in Vegas and played with them there. And the following year, I was on that EYBL team. And that was a really cool experience. We traveled all over the place. We played top competition. Our team was full of McDonald's All-Americans and one and done guys, and many people I played against and played with are now at the same level I am here. So it's cool to kind of build up with the same people, and then make it to Santa Barbara and just bit by bit grinding my way and trying to carve out a name and a legacy for myself there. That kind of just brought me to where I am now.
Gabe, I'm interested in that. Like what you talked about, the grind, man. Like that's a grind for sure, because you started, you didn't have all the benefits that other players have had, and you had to really make your own way through. So, like, what motivates you? What keeps you grinding?
I mean, I have a great support system, a family and my close-knit friends. But a lot of it is I'm just a pretty self-motivated person. Like I get my mind set on something, and I'm pretty driven, and I just continue to work towards it. So for me, at a young age, I knew that I wanted to make basketball my thing. I wanted to be me. I wanted to be my career. I didn't want to be a doctor or an engineer per se. Like I wanted to hoop. And so I just tried to attack it the best way I could in terms of like training and where I need to be and trying to like set goals and standards for myself to try to meet and kind of outwork myself per se, like year by year. So especially like in college, that was to get that first D1 offer and then to start racking some more up. And then it became about what's the best decision for me in my future past college. Like where can I go that's going to put me in a good situation where I can develop, being very realistic with myself at the same time, like knowing I'm not a one-and-done guy. So for me, it was like, where can I go and develop to be the player I need to be to perform at the next level? And it's I've just kind of been very realistic with myself, also being very confident within myself and just kind of trusting the hours and the work that I put in. But it has been a grind, man. I mean, no stage. It doesn't get easier per se.
Right.
You just fall in love with it. You fall in love with the journey. And it's funny. I was actually on the phone not too long ago talking about kind of where I am now and how when I look back on times, it's the grind that I remember. You remember the journey more than you remember like, oh, I had 30 that game or I did X, Y, and Z. It's more like, man, I remember my draft process. I drove from Santa Barbara to Sacramento on the weekends to get some workouts in and then went back to school. And it was like that's the stuff I look back on and remember before becoming a pro. So it's been fun, man, and definitely coming out of a smaller area. It's cool. I go back home and people are proud and it means a lot to them to see someone doing well and someone pursuing their dreams and moving forward.
I love it, man. And for you, you were obviously a local kid and you signed a 10-day with the Sacramento Kings. What was that like, going from college player and kind of seeing that NBA dream come full circle?
Right. It was really cool. It was really cool. Sacramento being one of my few workouts I had. I didn't really perform well in it either, to be honest. But it was cool to meet the front office and to see guys like Vlade and Bobby and Peja. And, these are guys that I saw when I was young, growing up, watching them on TV playing. So to kind of like change the dynamic of that relationship to where, I do know them on a first-name basis now, and they know me. And it's kind of like, and now that I'm in the NBA and kind of a part of this brotherhood in a way, even though my foot's just barely in the door, it's been a cool experience. It's been it's been different than I thought it would be. Yeah. But it's still really exciting. I personally have a long way to go and where I want to be. So.
Well, you mentioned, meeting Vlade and Peja for the first time, and I think that was also the first time you probably went super viral, if I'm not mistaken. They had a picture in the background with Luka, Bagley, their names on it, just in a different order than that, man. Talk about your experience with going viral, kind of being part of that.
Right. It was cool because the people that knew me were like, hey, you're on ESPN right now, or you're – and I'm just like, what, for what? What did I do? You know what I mean? Like, I'm from a mid-major. I didn't get drafted. So I'm trying to think of what I could be on there for that I did wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. So once I kind of figured it out, I thought it was just kind of funny, man. I'm like, I'll take the publicity, but this is on you guys. Like, this is your problem. It has nothing to do with me. You see the dotted line. It's signed for me, so I'm good.
Dude, I remember seeing that for the first time. It's crazy how that connected, bro, and it's actually like you that it happened to, man.
Right. Crazy. Like, what are the odds of that? But they gotta close that board up, man. They gotta be a little smarter about that one. But it all worked out.
Yeah, it did, man. Well, I mean, talk about, so obviously, things happen. Talk about that first year because, there's a part that went from Sacramento to Stockton Kings. Talk about what happened during that transition that first year.
Yeah, so for me, when I signed my Exhibit 10 with Sacramento, I knew the deal. I knew I was going to be going to their G League team and I was going to be there to develop. But my first year out, I was riddled with a couple injuries, which was really frustrating for me because in many ways, this season has kind of been my rookie year. Like before our scrimmage, right before our first game, I ended up tearing a ligament in my thumb. That put me down for about 6 weeks. I had to have surgery. And then I came back and played really well in my first 2-3 games. I came out hitting at the showcase. And after about 12 games in, I ended up popping a hammy. And it was like one thing after the next. So I was out another 5 weeks. And at that point, it's like, G League season's not that long. So I basically missed more than half the year. And I could never really get a rhythm going at all. So then coming into this summer was really the first summer I've had. Since I tore my ACL in college, since then it's kind of just been like a trickle effect and my body's trying to catch up. So I'm still trying to put in work to go to the next level, right? And this is the first time I really had where I was healthy. And, it was great for me. I was able to get a lot of work in. I had an opportunity to play at the national team in Nigeria. So I was gone for 2 months with them in a training camp, bouncing all over, from New York to Atlanta to Dominican Republic, Canada, Nigeria, China. Like, I was all over the place and playing and working out and competing at a high level. And that kind of just primed me for where I was mentally coming into this year. Like my grind that we had talked about earlier just never stopped this past season. Like I was working out. Like G League ended, it's probably 3 days of just hanging out, and then it was back to work. So
yeah,
for
that's
me, it's
sick.
been a long year of basketball, and it's definitely, I think, put me in a good position coming into this year where I kind of hit the ground running. And so a lot of people, they were confused about like who is this kid? But to me and the people in my circle, it's funny because we talk about it now. It's like none of it was a surprise to us. They'd seen the work. They knew it was only a matter of time. Like it would just give me a chance to be healthy and get right, and I'll be good. So it was definitely reassuring to have that time where I did play well and did show well, and then to be rewarded on top of it was just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, dude, and for like, I know because we've sat and seen some of your games, man, and I remember thinking like, this dude's coming in hitting from long range, man, and obviously it's the thing that people notice. You know, it's easy to see you get buckets, man. Did you know that people were coming and looking at you, especially looking? Obviously, I want you to talk about the transition and getting on with the Heat, but did you know that teams are looking at you potentially for a two-way deal?
I didn't at first. At first, it was like, I just want to kill. Like, I wanted to just dominate every game. I wanted to be no question in anyone's mind. Like he dominated the game. Like he was the best player on the floor, period. And so after like the first 5 games that I did that, I kind of like, you know, people start talking and, like all the expectations and you start getting all this love. And I was kind of sitting there like whether the love comes or not, like I'm still trying to go dominate. I just might not be what the team needs. Like I don't want to get too caught up in all the who's getting a call up, who's here for who. I just wanted to kill and just get better and just enjoy the game. So once I started seeing scouts there or people or scouts that I had seen before and kind of knowing a little bit, I was kind of aware and people had made me aware, and it was, you know, it was cool and it was fun to kind of know that you're on someone's radar. But to me, like nothing had changed. It was, you know, like they already know who I am. They've seen the film. They've seen all the college. They've seen the last game I played. So for me, it was like, I'm just gonna go be me, and that's all I control, and let's try to win this game. So, and then thankfully this worked out. So, I'd be happy to be here.
You mentioned this, so this is being the Miami Heat, man.
This will be the Miami Heat,
dude. Talk about that. I know for you, obviously the grind, you know, going through and taking the long route in college, and then kind of taking the quote unquote long route in the G League, man. What was it like when you finally got that contract, two-way deal with the Miami Heat, man, and knowing that you're part of that team's future?
Right. It was amazing, man. It was ironically enough, we had just played their G League team in Sioux Falls on a Sunday. And I had a really good first half. I was killing them in the first half. Second half wasn't too great, and we lost by like 25. And I knew after the showcase that they were one of the teams that had been interested. So at that point, I'm thinking we just took a bad loss. I didn't play that great. There goes Miami. So I thought the deal was done. Like, it wasn't going to happen. But we moved forward. And we went back home Monday. We had a game Tuesday at home. I forget who we played. But I woke up to a call from my agent, and he was telling me, hey, you know, there's a couple teams interested. We're going to make a decision. You're not going to practice today. You're probably not playing. You'll probably be going somewhere else in the next 24 hours. And I was sitting there like, talk about coffee, the quickest way to wake up in the morning. Like, I never been more awake of a phone call faster in my life. And I kind of just locked in. It was like, great, you know, like, call me back. What are we talking about? I'll call you back in 5 minutes. So I go shower, whatever. Sitting by the phone, just like making sure it's plugged in, watching it, making, you know, I'm going to answer this call. I'm not going to miss it by any means. And he calls me back and mentions Miami and another organization. And I told him, you know, hey, we don't need to be on the phone anymore. You need to call Miami back and let's get this done. You know, like, let's go there. That'd be awesome. You know, they have a great reputation with their success of taking guys from the G League and developing players. And for me, my development is super important. You know, like I mentioned before, I'm very realistic with who I am, my game, and how I can get better. And I felt like this was a great place for that. And you know, they believed in me, and they took a chance on me, and I jumped on it the minute I could. I took that opportunity, and with within 24 hours, I was flying out to Sioux Falls and signing papers and getting ready to start playing games in red and black. So it's been great ever since.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, when I first heard I heard you were going to Miami, I thought, like, that's perfect, man. Perfect for the culture there is perfect for you. And like you said, you're a grind. They value that. Like, that's high on there. So I wanted to know more about the culture in Miami and, like, what that's like. Because I've had a little bit of experience. I work out at the 24-Hour Fitness right across from the downtown. And I've been there on multiple occasions, and I've seen the entire Miami Heat coaching staff working out. And it's not like, I don't know if they're working out before the game or after the game, but it's not like they're just like running on the treadmill. Like, they're getting in work, man. So like, there's something about the culture there in Miami that's different.
No, it's top to bottom. Like, it's no joke. The culture is very serious, and it's not like we take everything we do here seriously. Like, we're not just messing around. We do something. Like, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna lock in. And something we say here is we're just trying to get 1% better each day. It's like, did you get your 1%? And so we kind of embrace that grind, and we embrace that, you're not going to climb Mount Everest in a day. You're not going to reach that peak in a week or a month maybe. It's going to be day by day grind. You have to win each day and kind of continue to battle. And I think it's, like you mentioned right there, it's a prime example of the Miami Heat culture. You see the coaching staff and they're working out.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
I don't know. I haven't been there every team in the league, but I don't know many coaches that are in there working like the way our coaches are working.
Yeah.
And then to turn around and then grab some guys and go take them through a workout. It's like the work never ends. The work never ends, and we embrace it here. It's a different kind of crazy for sure.
Yeah. You can tell.
Quite frankly, it's just not for everybody. And I've been on different teams. Like, even when I was playing with the Soldiers back in high school, like that team and that organization and environment just isn't for everybody. And it didn't work out for some people. But it worked out for me, and I was able to embrace it. But this kind of crazy that we have here in Miami, I feel like it matches myself. It kind of matches who I am. They have a good job of bringing in high character guys that kind of match the system of what we're looking for. So everyone here we're all about that work. We're all about getting better. We've been even doing Zoom workouts. So we're pretty locked in over here, trying to get better.
Well, yeah, and you could tell, obviously, when you mentioned, like, the crazy, I think that's a narrative, obviously, that starts with some of their top players, like Jimmy Butler, but then I think it starts to even trickle down. They drafted Tyler Herro. Kind of, they say he has that little tick as well. But one thing I really want to tap into is that G League to NBA success that happened for rookie Kendrick Nunn this year, and also Duncan Robinson, man. Talk about how that can inspire somebody like you, because they have the exact same path, and you see that, Kendrick obviously thought that he was in that rookie of the year conversation. Duncan Robinson was shooting in a 3-point contest, and you fit damn near that same mold, man. I know that Duncan's a little taller, but that undersized guard. Talk a little bit about how that inspires you, and a little bit more on why that inspired you to go with Miami.
Right. I mean, I think there's it's just like when you're playing in a game and your coach tells you to shoot the ball, like, that gives you a different kind of confidence. Coaches have that ability to give players confidence, and I think organizations have the ability to give players confidence too. And we talk about those previous cases and seeing how that has worked out and how they, it's not like there's no handouts here. It's not like we're just giving this away, but there is an opportunity, and they're not afraid to take that chance on that opportunity when they see something that can, help us win. So to see them have that opportunity, take advantage of that opportunity, and earn themselves a contract and efficient minutes, effective minutes, so it's like it's encouraging to see, because it's not fluff. It's not, here's this two-way, and they're doing that. They see something that they may want in the future. So to have that opportunity up in the air, that possibility, chances is all we can really ask for, especially coming from a small town and grinding this whole time. Like, all I ever asked for is opportunity. Let me earn it. And if I don't earn it, great, I'll come back again next time and see if I can earn it next time. So it's really encouraging to have that knowledge that the opportunity will be present itself and will be had. And I even had some opportunities this year playing against the Clippers and playing against the Warriors in Sacramento. So it's been a fun experience so far. I'm definitely looking forward to more of it, and hopefully to be here for a while.
Yeah, you mentioned Sacramento, man. Coming back to your hometown, one of your first games. I know you played like against the Clippers, obviously, but one of your first games being here in Sacramento, in your hometown, man. Talk about what that experience was, right next to Stockton, Modesto, just near and dear to where you grew up. Talk a little bit about playing in that game.
Right. First off, I wish we would have won. We dropped that one. We should have been better on that front. Second off, I wish I would have played a little bit better. But it was also really cool just for my family and friends to be able to see that moment and share that success with me, you know, because I'd be lying if I said it was all on me all the way to this point. You know, there's a lot of ups and downs. My family's been great support for me. Just to have people that, you know, in communities, Sacramento, where we were living when we were playing with Stockton. So being around that community, and that's kind of been my home base for the past few years of where I go work out. So being around a community I'm familiar with, people I'm familiar with, being close to home, allowing that community to come share that moment with me was awesome. And to kind of share that with everyone I was able was a cool experience. And I think, you know, one of a kind in its own way.
Awesome, man. Well, and I think for you, like, obviously, like, that's the starting point. You know, you got on the NBA court, got your first NBA bucket. You know, what's next? Like, obviously, you see the career trajectory path that can happen being with the organization like the Heat. For you, just what are some short-term, maybe long-term, like, where do you see yourself, you know, career-wise?
Right. I mean, for me, I just would like to earn a contract. I mean, I'm on my two-way. I did earn that one. But the two-way will end, you know, at some point, and I'd like to earn an NBA contract and start moving forward from there, and start to earn, you know, minutes on a competing team. I'd love to be here in Miami. I'd love to be a part of this culture. I love it here. I love the staff. I love the guys. I get along with them great. So for me, it would just be to earn a contract here and move forward, and start to become a member of this unit that's putting in time on the floor and helping us win games, because that's what it's about at the end of the day, is win some games. And hopefully we can get another championship to the city.
Yes, sir. And so I know that's like the NBA experience. You also mentioned playing in Nigeria in the past, and then currently you're on track to do that as well. Not sure what's going to happen with the Olympics, if it's postponed to next year, et cetera.
2021, yeah.
Yeah, so talk about that. Talk about what that means to you playing for the Nigerian national team, and even moving forward, what you expect moving, you know, while you're playing in there.
Right. I mean, it's the best way I could put it is being back in Sacramento and playing in front of my friends and family was a really cool experience. And that's, you know, that might be 20, 40 people. Representing a nation is something totally different. Totally different. I mean, there's 200 million plus people that I don't even know, and I'm out there to represent them. So a lot of pride comes with it. It's a different kind of competitive nature, I think. And to have that opportunity this summer to play in the World Cup this past summer in China and qualify for the Olympics was awesome. Like that feeling was unlike any other. To kind of be in China, playing against China to qualify, like it was in many ways it was my March Madness that I never had. I didn't go to the tournament when I was in college, so in many ways it kind of filled that gap for me. But I was definitely really looking forward to Tokyo 2020, now 2021. But you know, we're eager, and I know I talk to those guys a lot. Like our national team talks quite a bit. And it was just the brotherhood that was formed, meeting guys from all over, being able to go back to Nigeria, which I hadn't been back to in a long time. So that was cool to go back home and just to kind of experience that, man, and to play for something way bigger than myself and way bigger than, you know, it's not for a championship. Like, this is for every 4 years, you know, like nations competing, and to come out and to get that qualification out of the World Cup and to be the best team, best nation from Africa was awesome. I know that the people back home in Nigeria have to take a lot of pride in that.
Man, dude, I love that, man. And I think that's a testament, dude, to hard work, playing for I mean, on the Olympic scale for a national team, man, I can only imagine. You mentioned like the experience. Talk a little bit about that. Was that the largest crowd that you played for? Like, what was that experience like?
It was different, man. Like, because we had kind of gone all over the place. We had a long training camp. It was like 2 months. Started out with like 18 to 20 guys. And kind of like each time we went somewhere else, it was less and less people. It was kind of like I was on the edge, me and another guy. We were already in China. It was like we had to make more cuts. And it was pretty much between me and another guy, and we ended up playing Poland in a peak tournament. And it was like a championship game in the peak tournament. And I ended up having a good game. And I kind of knew at that point, like, look, this is the niche I can have for this team that I can carve out for myself and be effective. And, you know, once I made that team and we moved forward, we got to the World Cup. And playing in that environment was interesting because you're playing against different nations. With Russia, Argentina, who ended up being in the finals, Korea. And it was like, you know, we're getting after them. These guys, you know, how much time to really prepare. You got 2 months, you're making cuts, kind of trying to put in plays, you're traveling, you're trying to figure out what can I eat. I'm in China, I don't know the food. Like, I was eating a whole bunch of Snickers for whatever reason. That was like the only thing I was comfortable with. And so it was just talk about being out of your comfort zone. Like, I've never been out of my comfort zone more. And to kind of find a way to just grind that out. And above all else, like, basketball is that safe zone, and just lose yourself to the game was awesome.
Yeah, man. Well,
the crowd though against China was crazy.
I bet, dude. I bet there's so many people out there. Like, I want to touch a little bit though about your game too. Who did you model your game after, like, growing up? Like, who was the player you were like, I want to be like, fill the blank when you were growing up?
See, for me, I never really. I saw myself in a lot of players, and I saw things I liked in a lot of guys, but they didn't look like me. Like, I'm a big Bron fan. I've always been a big Bron fan, and people that know me will tell you that. But I'm not 6'8", 270.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my game and Bron's game is entirely different.
Yeah.
But there's some things he does that I admired and tried to pick from. And we go down the line like Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and it's like you keep going down. It's like these guys are really good at what they do. How can I take this and add it to me? So it wasn't necessarily I wanted to be another player. It was more like I want to take this from you and that from you and make it my own and try to just create my own way, create my own lane.
Yes, sir. Well, we got a few minutes left, man. Before we go, I want to talk a little bit about your message. Like, what's your message to anybody who's watching this, who's inspired by your journey? Like, what would you tell somebody, the 10-year-old that's going through the AAU program, or maybe the high schooler that doesn't have a lot of offers, or the guy that came out undrafted that's looking for that next opportunity? What's your word of experience to them?
The first thing I would say is don't and belief is a very powerful thing. And the second thing I would say is my journey isn't going to look like your journey. So don't need to get caught up in what he has going on, what he has going on. You know, like, the best business for you is to mind your own business. And to pursue your own journey, man. Like, everyone's path is different. Like, my path, you mentioned Duncan and Kendrick. Like, my path isn't the same as theirs. Yep. In many ways, like, you know, Kendrick was with Santa Cruz Warriors, and then he ended up getting picked up after Summer League by Miami. And Duncan went straight to a two-way. So even their paths are different as much as they're similar. You know, so just fall in love with the grind and find what works for you and make the most out of your opportunity. But don't get too caught up in comparing, because it's the thief of joy. You know, you got to be careful with that.
Thanks, man. Well, appreciate you coming on, man. Where can people find you? What are you up to? Are you on Instagram? You on Twitter? Where can people find you and connect with you?
Yeah, I'm on all the socials except for TikTok, really. But my handle's pretty simple. It's just I am Gabe Vincent 2. The 2 is the number 2. But I'm pretty active on there. I don't post too much, but I see most of the stuff going on, and I like to interact with fans and all that. So
you're not on TikTok? You're not doing any Tootsie Slide or anything, man?
No, I'm not doing that. I made a couple of TikToks on other people's TikToks, but
there you go.
I never got the app and got into it and just sit in my room dancing for hours. I couldn't do that.
All right, my man. Well, Gabe, hey, man, appreciate the time. Thank you for coming on. JustHoopTalk.
No worries,
another edition in the books. Wow. Peace.
Appreciate y'all.
For more NBA, college, and hoops coverage,
Be sure to subscribe to Just Hoop Talk podcast on YouTube and all streaming platforms.